So what's up, guys? It's me, Lex, here again. This is the second part to the video that I released right before this one. The second part of the horror thing. So you're gonna have to watch the first one in order to understand what's going on in this one. So let's get right into it. All right. So we're gonna start off by talking about what the actual scary aspect of this movie is, or what the genre of horror is gonna be. So we gotta face it because there's different genres of horror or kinds of horror. And what I may call them is different than what they may actually be called or what you call them. So let's talk about the types of horror that this movie would not be or story would not be. Let's go with my least favorite. I am not a fan of the ghosts and demons category. Don't like these because they tend to change rules and powers from scene to scene in certain things, and it's a little bit murky. And if they're not well written, they can be kind of confusing. And it's not just a horror movie problem here. This is just a lot of things involving ghosts, goblins, demons, things of that sort. Not goblins, but it was a good old reference. It's also because there's too many to definitively pick one of. Like, there's too many sources to go with demons and ghosts. Also, my least favorite reason for these are they rely too much on jump scares in some cases unless they decide to make it psychological, which is another genre, takes place up in the head or it's mental stuff, that type of thing. Then there are the torture porn movies. This is like the Saw series, and these are movies that try to make violence the main focus of the movie, and I don't particularly appreciate these. I think they're kind of a low form and they're not interesting. Because gore should be used to enhance a movie, and that's why it's not going to be this kind of movie. It's going to be something totally different. Then here's actually my personal favorite category, but this is not what it's going to be, is the realistic horror. These are the movies of things that could happen, like The Last House on the Left or Hostel. Both of these movies can also be seen in the gruesome category, as, kind of gory and violent, but they actually are grounded in reality. They have something that's graspable. There's some horror aspect that makes it realistic, unlike Saw. Now, let's go into what this movie will actually be. It's going to be a monster movie. Not like a traditional sense of werewolf and things of that nature, but that category could be anything from traditional monster movies, like vampires, not ghosts, why did I say ghosts? Vampires, zombies, werewolves, things of that sort, all the way up to things like Cthulhu and the Blob and monsters like that. So there's an incredibly broad range of things that could be used in this category. These are just a few of the genres I actually toyed with making this, with the exception of torture porn, because fuck the torture porn category. But I would go more in depth about the genres of horror, but that is not my job, and I just don't feel like doing that. So after 2 videos, let's finally just get into what the plot's going to be for this. So let's actually talk about what this story would be. This should be interesting. Let's get right into it. The story would start off with the main character, obviously. It would be something simple, such as him waking up to an alarm and do some storytelling with the environment. Some pictures on the wall showing him and his friends throughout the years. Things like that. And then he would progressively pick up more and more of the group by driving and getting them, and they talk about the trip, and they try to make things seem a little more natural. Their friendship would develop on the drive there and during the first act. It would be more of a building process for the first maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes of this story. Be showing how they speak, interact, act with each other, do things, naturally. And when they make it to the destination and at the camp, they would find out that the place is closed down. And they weren't aware that the place was closed down. So now they go into the nearby town and start asking questions about why the place was closed down. And they finally get their reasoning, and despite being told this, the leader decides to push the group into spending a night or two at the camp and then going back home afterwards, so they get to enjoy their vacation. By the way, the leader is that dickhead character. It's quote-unquote leader, not the main character. So they do so, and they have to break into the camp and leave their car behind because they know if they bring it in, they'll instantly be caught. They have to sneak in and try to be a little bit weary of what's going on. When they make it to the camp, it would be kind of a setup and more building, but you'd start to see a little bit of the tension between how the characters interact with each other. For example, the lazy one causing problems with the reluctant one, or the main character having issues with the dickhead. Things like that. But there would also be something going on in the background. There would be something off about this place. There would have to be things shown around, such as things being ripped to shreds, claw marks on places, and things would casually go missing at points. Little hints of things that could potentially be going on, but have to leave a little mystery around it. The second act would then be a hike into the woods. This would be a beginning of the actual what's going on of the movie, the big crux of it. And this would be where character traits really start to show. The hike would be a calm and relaxing at the beginning of it, but would slowly start to devolve into chaos when they start to see more and more signs of something not being right in the forest. It will be subtle little things such as rocks sliding above them, footsteps where there shouldn't be, and trees knocked over with huge claw marks or something wrong. There would also have to be small things laid around, such as footprints all over the place, make things feel natural in a natural way. It would all come to a head when they finally find something they really can't explain. For example, a bear ripped to pieces in the forest. It would be unlike anything they've ever seen or heard stories of beforehand, so at this point is when they decide to head back. But here's where the crux is. They're already lost. They can't even make their way back if they tried. At this point is where the forest would become a void of silence, surrounded by nothing but emptiness and the people around you. This would cause the group to start to panic and fray because they have no sense of direction and they know that something is around in these woods now. Something bigger than them. And they would start to actually see more overt signs of something following them. The monster that would be following them would become more apparent, revealing itself up until the point in the middle of Act 2 when something actually happens. A group member gets taken from them. So this is when the characters become more panicked and afraid because of lack of supplies, a man down, and not knowing where they're going. And they would eventually come across the body of that friend, and it would completely demoralizing them. The final three would eventually try to make it back, with desperate measures being ensue, and the survivors would make it back to the camp with little to nothing, and they're still being hunted by something much bigger, faster, and scarier than them. And this would become a hide-and-seek section in the camp, something that they know. But it would be a very sick game of hide-and-seek because the only way to win would be to pray you could hide long enough for it to lose interest, or run your chances through the woods and trying to outrun it, try to make it back. And it would eventually end with only one survivor left, and that one survivor would try to go back to town and explain what's going on, but everyone would just think they're crazy for what he's saying. Want to say thank you guys for watching this. That's going to be the end of this one. I only wrote this in a couple of days. It took me about 2 days to get everything worked out for this, and I know I could actually give you guys something better if I had more time, which I actually may or may not do. I haven't decided yet. Depending on the reception of this one and how many views it gets, it'll actually determine whether I do this a little more often or not. But regardless, I want to say thank you for watching. I'm glad you guys stuck out for the 2 pieces. If you did, like I said, really appreciate it. I had so much fun doing this. This is honestly very enjoyable for me. So, thank you. Please leave a like, subscribe. Please comment down below on this. Anything you guys think I could fix, what I could talk about more. And I did leave a lot out because I don't want to reveal everything I have for this because I may want to do something with it someday. So, have a good one, guys. I stream over live on Twitch every couple of days. I will actually link my Twitch over in the About Me section. So, thanks for watching. Have a good one.